Yellow Jackets, man. How about the season that they're having? They've been a great team this year, man. Just in terms of what they're doing on the offensive side of the ball, defensively highly ranked. Right, you look at red zone, they're ranked number 12, top 35 in scoring defense this year. Have not led up over 24 points in the tenure of Blake Gideon. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Right now, they're gonna give up some yards. You know what I'm saying? Things like that, but they play a bend don't break style. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you can have all the yards in the world, but when you get down here to this red zone, we're gonna stop you, make you force you to kick 3 points. We're not gonna let you get touchdowns. And the fact they won last week over Syracuse, not having a lot of their key pieces, no Jai Gilmore, no Harrison Moore, no Malik Rutherford, right? Zachary Toby goes out of the game with an injury, no Amari Harvey, right? No Akilo Stone, and they was able to come out and win. That talks about the depth this program is built. It's talking about the recruiting efforts they've done, and also how they use the transfer portal. It's crucial, right? Now this week we'll find out tomorrow because I'll be at the press conference what they're going to do in terms of, you know, their injury report, who's going to play, who's not going to play. I don't know quite yet what that's going to look like for them, but this is probably one of the last big tests for them up until they play Pittsburgh and obviously Georgia, right? No disrespect to Boston College, but this is a big test for Georgia Tech going on the road, sellout crowd for NC State and homecoming, But the key for the Yellow Jackets, getting out to a good start. King has already talked about they haven't played a complete game yet. And when I talked to him in the presser today, he basically was saying they have to keep their eyes obviously focused. And another thing he said is the bad plays, right? Just eliminating the brain farts, right? Eliminating those key plays that kind of, go on and on. Just being able to eliminate that, which will allow them to kind of be able to hit on all cylinders consistently throughout the game, right? And we've seen it. Like second half, they're just a better football team. I don't know what they say at halftime. I don't know how they adjust, but they're just a better football team in the second half compared to the first. But NC State is a team with a prolific offense. You look at CJ Bailey, who's having a very good year. He's a lot better than what he was last year. Already has the same amount of touchdowns that he had a year ago with 17. He's throwing the ball really well, and then they have one of the best backs in the ACC. Plain and simple. They got one of the best backs in the ACC, in Hollywood Smothers. He has nearly 900 yards rushing this year, and he's been a problem. Last few weeks, he just hasn't touched the ball as much. Last week, 8 carries, 86 yards in the tub, right? Best game was against Virginia when he rushed for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 carries. So do you have an answer for that? And the reason it's a little concerning for Georgia Tech is because you are not the best defense against the run, right? I think they're like in the hundreds defending the run. So that's an issue. That is a problem. You know what I'm saying? And they have the linebackers to do it, but they have to be able to hit him and wrap him up because he's a guy that keeps his legs turning and he makes it tough. You know what I'm saying? Defensively, they're going to have a lot of opportunities, right? Defense gives up a lot of big plays, so they'll have their chances with Isaiah Canyon, and we'll see if Jordan Allen gets a little bit more burned depending on the injury to Malik Rutherford. Obviously, you look at Eric Rivers and Dean Patterson. Dean Patterson is probably the most explosive receiver on this team. So they're going to have the chances because teams always gear up to stop their run, gear up to stop Malachi Hosley, they gear up to stop Jamal Haynes, and they gear up to stop Haynes King. So that allows you to hit obviously those receivers, and then obviously the tight ends. We've seen kind of that proliferation of them getting more involved, right? Josh Beatham having his best game, 2 touchdowns, should have been 4. Luke Harpering being able to get more touches, JT Byrne getting more touches, and Brett Seether. So they got the pieces. It's just executing at a high level and doing what you're supposed to do if you Georgia Tech on the road against the Wolfpack. And this is a game, if you're Georgia Tech, you cannot get down early. Can't be down 14-0 in this game and trying to come back. Stay within the game early on until you figure it out in the second half and you can pull away, right? Continue to use your tight ends at a high level. Get more pressure with the quarterback. I'm expecting a big game from Montre Bradford. I'm saying I think he should be inserted more into the starting lineup with just what he's been able to do this season. Leads the team with 2.5 sacks this year. I need to see that number a little bit more up before the end of the year, at least 5 to 6 sacks this year for them. So that part they got to figure out. But they should be able to handle business against NC State. They should be able to come out on top. So I'm going Georgia Tech. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put some respect on NC State and say they make it close. I'm going to go 31-20 victory for Georgia Tech. I think they make enough plays in the second half to pull away and then win this game with a 31-20 victory over, obviously, NC State. It won't be easy, if you're Georgia Tech, but just making the plays you need to make, making the stops, and obviously slowing down Hollywood Smothers has to be the game plan, obviously, for them in this game if they want to come out on top and have a chance. So I'm going with the Yellow Jackets in this one with a big victory over NC